Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Welcome to the August 6, 2026 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. I'm going to start out with a roll call. Would each of the board members please introduce themselves for purposes of a quorum?
Hi, I'm Amanda Fant.
Doris Davis-Fritch.
Kara Myers.
David Stites.
And I'm Chuck Smith.
So there will be 3 actions to be considered tonight. Case 1, regarding the landmark designation of 58 South Main Street. Case 2, a certificate of appropriateness to alter the exterior of a landmark property by adding replacement windows to 84 South Main Street. And Case 3, a certificate of appropriateness for the addition of an accessibility ramp to 26 East Church Street. Before we start the meeting, I would like to just briefly explain the procedures we'll be following tonight and share a couple of housekeeping items. If you are planning to speak today and have not already done so, please sign in on the sign-in sheets. And I think we're all set there with our huge crowd. Please also silence your cell phones during the meeting. After each case, there will be a time for public comment, after which the commission will discuss and deliberate. We'll start with the meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Yes.
Are there any comments, concerns, edits? So who is there? Everyone. Oh, you weren't there for that part. No comment? Can we make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from June 4th.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes.
And then we'll have Commissioner Stites.
Oh. So case 1, I'm going to let Jill read the case for us.
Okay, so case 1, the case type is a landmark designation amendment. The address is 58 South Main Street. The request is to amend the 2008 landmark designation for 58 South Main Street to include only parcel 153.13-1-16.11. So I will present a little bit of this. As I think many people recall, in 2023, there was a joint meeting that was held between the Planning Board and Historic Preservation Commission to evaluate the construction of a new building, as well as an addition onto the existing former bank building. And so the reason that both boards were involved in that is because the entire parcel had been designated for 58 South Main being the bank. So now we have a situation where we have the existing bank with the addition, and now we have a completed structure completed in 2025. And so I have asked the commission to entertain the request to, and I should go back, there also was a subdivision of this property. So now we have 2 separate parcels. We have one parcel where the bank is located, and that's known as 58 South Main. And then we have one parcel where the new build is located as 64 South Main. So I am requesting that the designation from 2008 be amended to only include the parcel of 58 South Main. 64 South Main being a new build doesn't meet any of the criteria found in the code for designation of the landmark. I do want to point out that there is a letter included from the State Historic Preservation Office that also explains this. And so I guess I would entertain now any questions from the commission.
Whoops. Did anyone wish to ask any questions about this or comment?
I have a question.
Sure.
Did this action begin with the request from the property owner?
It did not. So this is something that I thought was important, and the reason being is obviously we want to ensure that the commission is complying with code and following code. And there have been 40 plus properties within the village of Fairport that have met that criteria, at least one of those items on the criteria, and have been designated. And because we have a new building, it's not appropriate for it to be considered a designated landmark.
You know, to what Chuck was saying, I'm just thinking about the process of this. So you have 58, and it was the whole parcel. 58 is still there, subdivide, there's 64. So then that was basically vacant land. At that point, it still remains a designated property, even without anything on it, and then you build new on it, and so it's not, is it designated or?
So you know what? I'm going to use this piece of paper to sort of give the explanation of how we got here. And I think originally in 2023, we went through this too, because it is a little bit challenging to understand. This would have been all of 58 South Main prior to that subdivision. And so if you look at the whole paper, the entire property is designated. On that parcel that's now 64 South Main was the drive-through and a driveway. So the process and the project were then presented to us, and it split this in half. But you still have the entire area designated. So that's why when this project was proposed, it required the approval of not only the planning board through the site plan review process, and I want to remind everyone that this was under the previous code, but also had Historic Preservation Commission involved too.
And you said previous code, does that mean under the new code that process wouldn't have taken place as is, or it would have been the same?
It would have been the same. Okay. I say that because there was a site plan review process that had different criteria as to what the triggers were. And so things have changed a little bit as far as what some of the triggers would be. Still, a new building requires review.
And when you say it does not meet the criteria or the standards, and then the case says the same, how was it determined that it does not meet any of these 5 standards? And follow-up is, will we have an opportunity to debate each of the 5 standards?
Yes, in fact, that's what I want the commission to do, to go through those. Okay. So the 5 standards, I'll actually read them. The first one is possesses special character or historic or aesthetic interest or value as part of the cultural, political, economic, or social history of the locality, region, state, or nation. Or, number 2, is identified with historic personages. Or 3, embodies the distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style. Or 4, is the work of a designer whose work has significantly influenced an age. Or 5, because of a unique location or singular physical characteristic, represents an established and familiar visual feature of the neighborhood. Now, I think, obviously it's up for debate, but a lot of folks are pleased with the way the process played out with the workshop. The joint effort between Planning Board and Historic Preservation got us the structure that's currently there. And so, yes, it's a great building. The architect that designed it has done great work, but it doesn't rise to that level. And so if you compare it to, we have 2 applications that are after this one that focus on properties that they're recognizable to the community. They are associated with maybe one historic person or many historic people that contributed to the village of Fairport. They're connected with an architectural style, et cetera, et cetera. And so, again, looking at this criteria, we have a new building that doesn't meet this.
But we'll talk about that.
I'm advising its staff that it doesn't, but we will go through you will go through as a commission and evaluate that.
Okay.
So at this point, it's different because you are presenting this, but when does the public speak, or if they wanted to?
Oh, they can most definitely. So
After you finish.
Yep, when, if you have any additional questions for me, if you say, no, we're fine, then obviously we will open it up for folks to come in and provide feedback on the application. And then, again, if there are any additional questions for me, I'm happy to answer those.
Because when we close the public meeting, you'll still be able to talk to us, as opposed to someone else who was presenting a case.
Well, if you'd prefer that I step out of the room and you can
Recuse yourself.
I can do that as well.
It's just different. So I just wanted to make sure that we can still speak to you after the public portion closes and that you don't have to just sit there. You can still talk to
I can still talk to you. Yep.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Theoretically, you're kind of acting as the applicant. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to share at this point?
Maybe just a question. So our purview then is only for structures, because the way I'm reading this, it says this structure does not meet. So we can't consider the land or like this space separate and apart from the physical building?
Yep. So I think the best way, in the past, the unfortunate part is when properties were designated, there wasn't the specificity that I think is important. And so when you are designating a property, it has been my experience that it's best to be very clear as to what you're designating. So in some cases in the future, you may see a property where you've determined that the house has that critical value, it meets the standards, but perhaps the garage was constructed in 1975 and doesn't hold that same value. So you would structure that landmark designation to be clear that it is only that main house, and be clear again that it excludes the garage. So in this case, when we reviewed the designation for 58 South Main Street, it was not clear. And so I think it's always best to side with, some caution. And so that's why the process played out the way it did, because it was not clear exactly what was designated and what was not. So if you recall, in 2023, you had to approve a C of A for removal of that drive-through.
I think to Amanda's question, the way the law read and how we interpreted it is that even though in some cases we were very, very specific about what was included in a designation, like a tree or something that stood out as unique to that property, it basically covered the parcel. It is the land, it is the property that we designated, but as it became there was a lot of questions about that, we started to be very, very specific about exactly what we wanted to be included. And in many cases, we specified a tree that was 100 years old and fairly unique to the village and to the United States, actually, in some cases. So we try to be very, very, if we go through the process again, and they weren't as specific back in the very first few years, we try to be very specific about everything we are concerned that are to be included. But at the law was written, it is the property, and the property is identified by the parcel number. So,
Well, yes, and. So there, over time, the way those designations were handled varies and differs. So I can't say with certainty that there was just one process. In some instances, it was very specific. In this one, it was not.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why the process was the way it was, because I didn't feel comfortable saying that that portion of the property was not included.
well, the commission, the law was passed in 2007, and the commission designated that property in 2008. So I think they were finding their way. And
Yeah,
again,
yep.
later on, as we designated things, we got really specific because there was those questions. Is it the land? Is it
Yeah.
is it the hedge? Is it the tree? Is it what encompasses what we're concerned about that is historic? So we started to be much more specific as the years pass, and we're trying to anticipate those questions.
So one of the things when I was just reviewing this prior to the meeting, looking through all of the information and looking through our code, and we really, as a Historic Preservation Commission, I think we have the authority for certain actions within our procedures and within our code. And as Shippo had pointed out, the code's intent is to protect and enhance the landmarks which represent distinctive elements of the village's historic, architectural, and cultural heritage, along with fostering civic pride in the accomplishments in the past. And so it is our job right now, as Jill's saying, to, properly apply this criteria to this specific interest, landmark designation, and enforce the standards for the certificates of appropriateness. So if people don't have other general comments, would we open it to the public now, and then we'll go through all the different criteria?
Yes. Chuck, did you have a question? Okay.
Is there anyone who would like to make any comments? Okay, Julie?
I want to make sure the microphone is on. It's on. It's on? Okay.
Julie Domrat, 71 East Avenue, Fairport. So I really am here for a couple of reasons, but primarily the letter that came from the State Historic Preservation Organization was directed to me. And I take it very seriously when I have letters written about a commission that's going on in the village of Fairport and about how they are applying the code. So I, wish to support the note or the letter that came from Francis from Shippo with the standards for this property. And while I understand in some of the general discussion, we talk about trees that may be historic or a shrub or a garden. I've also had discussions with individuals from the Department of State and from Historic Preservation that while you can designate a tree, you really can't designate a tree because it's an organic living thing, and you can say there's special importance to the community. But
Sorry, I don't understand.
that's good that you don't.
Okay.
Hopefully she's turned off. So there's 2 points to that. If a tree, let's say it was an elm tree that was on Elm Street, and that's why Elm Street was named Elm Street, because of an elm tree. And then we have an attack of Dutch elm disease, or we have the emerald borer that, on an ash tree. And we had a street named Ash, and it was named after that. There's nothing that you can do except try and provide support for that tree, just like we have at Potter for the historic tree in Potter. Let's take it back to this actual piece of property. I just wanted to touch on that with organic items like trees, shrubs, gardens. I understand the designations of gardens being the structural of the garden, but you can't promise that a rose bush is going to live forever. When it comes to the property on Main Street, the portion that was subdivided was a parking lot and a drive-through. And we don't have drive-throughs anymore in the village of Fairport. It's not adopted into the code anymore. But when you consider that piece of property, I wouldn't say that a parking lot and a drive-through make up anything that's historic to the village, unless you're supporting the historic nature of drive-throughs that were created in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. When it comes to the building that's now on that property, it does not possess any of the qualities that are required by the code. It's a new build. It came from 2025. If they have a certificate of appropriateness, does that mean if someone breaks the front door, they're going to come and we're going to review the building standards of 2025 for a front door of a restaurant? I just am very concerned if the commission does not move back away from designating this building and move to the place of undesignating this parcel of land as being historic, because at this point in time, I'm not really sure what's historic about that particular parcel of land, except it was the parking lot and the drive-through area for the bank. The bank is historic. The bank is protected. I think you take away from the importance of historic designations when you have a bank building that is historic and does need to be preserved and is a main point. I mean, I remember that as a kid, and it was old when I was a kid growing up here in the 60s. I don't think that you are doing justice to the historic nature of the properties that are designated in this community if you start to say, well, just because that new building built in 2025 next to that building is on a parcel that was once designated as part of this entire parcel as being historic, I think you're taking away the special character of historic designated properties. And I'd really like the commission to carefully consider that. Again, I take it very seriously when I receive notifications from the state that there's a problem with how they see this being enacted in our community. And that's what I took away from the note that came from Francis. So I'll stop there. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all volunteering to play this role in our community that is very important to protecting the historic nature of our community and many historic structures. I really appreciate you all for doing that. Thanks.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a comment regarding this case?
Want to ask a question? Can I ask a question? Given
Yes.
the nature of our first speaker was also our mayor and also the person whose name is on this letter, can I address something that was said for clarification?
Sure.
Well, it was just characterized that SHPO sent this letter because it saw our actions as a problem. Is that why the letter was sent?
Nope. So, well, let me explain the letter.
That's how I interpret the letter that I got, is there's a problem with how you're evaluating this code.
I felt it was a recommendation
Okay.
about how the state would view this property.
So-
And that's what I took out of it.
So let me highlight a couple areas from this letter. And this letter was provided by Francis Stern of the State Historic Preservation Office. So the intent of the Village of Fairport Historic Preservation Code is to protect and enhance the landmarks which represent distinctive elements of the village's historic, architectural, and cultural heritage, along with fostering civic pride in the accomplishments of the past. It is the opinion of the SHPO that the building at 64 South Main Street in Fairport does not sufficiently meet the standards for individual landmark designation as per the Village of Fairport Code, and therefore SHPO supports rescinding the landmark designation. The code specifies a landmark designation made pursuant to this section may be amended or rescinded in the same manner as herein provided for the designation of such landmark. Should the Village of Fairport Historic Preservation Commission members wish to engage in further training and education about historic preservation standards and criteria, our office is happy to accommodate that request.
And we have actually, I mean, we've done this before too. If there's questions about certain cases that we, would like more information about, we go to the experts and we say, what's your opinion on this? And so I guess that's how I was taking this, because there was no action ever taken on this. And so I appreciate if Jill or whoever reached out to them to say, let's get some clarification. That's often what we do.
And that's actually a benefit. I want to point this out because I talk about this to communities that aren't lucky enough to be part of this. The Village of Fairport is a certified local government. And because of that, we have access to the professionals at SHPO. And so when we have that opportunity to take advantage of their knowledge, we do. And Francis has been kind enough to present to this commission in the past.
So should we take the next step and go through the 5 areas and have the conversation? We'll close. Thank you.
Yeah, were there any other questions related to anything else? I know.
So that's what yeah. Is there anyone else who has comments, broader concerns, or shall we go through
Do-
different?
Do I get to say anything?
You do not.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
you're an
I'm just-
alternate. I'm sorry.
No, but I know, but can I say something as the public then?
Well, you're an alternate member of the board, which means that you can't participate in this.
Okay. I just didn't know if I could, because I'm not sitting up there now, if I could say something as the public. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that would be a good situation for us, but if you'd like to, I won't stop you. I want to touch because this was brought up in the pre-meeting about the design standards, and I had mentioned to the commission that I would love to do a training with all of the land use boards if they fully understand what the ramifications are of the adopted code. So in the previous code, it did not have design standards, it did not specify materials, and this is for general in the village of Fairport. So I'm just going to briefly talk about some of the things that are captured in here. So there are design standards not only for single-family, detached, multifamily, townhouses, et cetera. And some of the materials that are not permitted within the village of Fairport for these uses are plain concrete block, mirrored glass, exposed aggregate, EFIS, wood structural paneling, plastic, vinyl for specific buildings for townhouses. So this code goes a step further than the previous code because we heard from the public that they wanted to ensure that the historic character of the village was maintained. And so a means to do that is to ensure that appropriate materials are being used. So I just want to briefly touch on that. I don't know if there's any additional questions related to that, but I will structure some sort of training in the future so that that's clear to everyone.
Because I think it was shown when we all worked together on this project how great it was to collaborate between the different boards and commissions. It makes it stronger. So
Correct.
having all of us know what each other does, where the lines are and all of that is very
Yep.
helpful.
And we've done that training in the past, and I don't know if the crowd knows this, but there is a ethics training that occurs annually now, and so everybody gets together, which I think is a fun event for everyone. Would you agree? Nobody agrees. Okay. Moving on.
It's great to get together.
It's great to get together. So I will work on putting that together. Not to make excuses, but we've had a lot of missing pieces in the planning, zoning, and building code department, where we just now, for the last month, have had a code enforcement officer. So prior to that, my colleagues and I were picking up the slack. So now I may have my professional life back, and we can get moving on some of those descriptions.
So have we closed the public portion? And
We have-
Are we ready to move on, everyone? Okay, thank you. We have to make a. Do we make a motion to start a discussion?
No.
Okay. So I guess, I don't know, usually you read these, Jill, but if you want me to just move forward about the designation of an individual property, what we're doing is we are amending 58 South Main Street. We're not trying to designate 64. So we're kind of backing into this and stating why 64 does not fall within these, or why does or it
You're
does not.
evaluating, yes.
Yes, okay. So does everyone, the first point of discussion, does this property possess special character or historic or aesthetic interest or value as a part of the cultural, political, economic, or social history of the locality, region, state, or nation?
I was the champion of this original application and building, and I can very comfortably state that this retail building does not give us any special character or historic aesthetic interest in the village, only because it's fairly new. It's of today's period, which may be a fad and may not actually live well both economically and also in its construction. So I would say that number one is it does not contribute to these things.
I'll just say that I agree with Chuck on that. I don't see 64 as having the historic or special character and value as part of the cultural, political, economic, or social history of the village.
So I'm going to wordsmith this and say I disagree in that there is historic interest in that building. It looks as it does because of the process that we engaged in. If ultimately at the end of this conversation we're going to relinquish it, I at least would like to talk about potential for revision to the code or a way to think about how we view buildings moving forward. So with one, I think there is historic interest in that, given how we ultimately arrived at its physical appearance.
Amanda or Doris? Any comment?
Again, it's hard just thinking of a brand new build to be considered historic. I appreciate, the intensive process that various community and committee members went through, and I think there was a lot of thought put into the design. It's a very attractive building, one of the most attractive Starbucks I've ever seen. But again, I think it's a stretch for me to consider that something within the purview of our historic committee.
Thank you. Doris, would you like to comment or move on? Number 2, is the property identified with a historic personage?
No.
No.
No. Okay.
Move on.
Does it embody the distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style?
Not an historic one.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
I said not an historical one.
Is it the work of a... Oops, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Doris.
Sorry, she was finished.
Is it the work of a designer whose work has significantly influenced an age? I would say no.
No. No.
And would it be designated because of a unique location or singular physical characteristic representing an established and familiar visual feature of the neighborhood?
I say yes, and it fosters great civic pride in me for the accomplishments that we have done in the past in terms of how it came about.
I disagree. I was part of the camp that argued that that building should be a 2-story building with some kind of use above to match what a typical village scene would be in a typical village form and massing. And I think that the building that we massaged was pretty well given to us. And when we asked about some changes to be made so that the building could be more receptive to second floor living or other uses someday, we were told that absolutely not. It doesn't work with this type of retail structure, which was just to tell me that it was a stage set that can be put up and torn down very easily. And I was disappointed in that response, even though I did enjoy the joint meeting with the planning board and the conversations. I thought that there was a member of the planning board that was also feeling the way I was, but so sour eggs on my part, but I did not get anywhere with that suggestion, so.
I guess the one thing I would say, because it is new, it's not an established and familiar visual feature of the neighborhood. And I do agree, I wish it could have been a full actual two-story. To what Dave is saying, and really Chuck too, it was a pleasure having the collaboration, and I think that the building details were improved by all of us working together. So I do take pride in that. It didn't quite get to maybe where we would want it, but that's life sometimes. And that's just my comment on number 5. Any other comments? Amanda, any thoughts on that?
No, again, I just keep coming back to, I was persuaded by the letter from SHPO, and again, just thinking about this building, it is a new build, so while it's becoming an established and familiar visual feature, it's new. So to me, I do not think it meets the criteria for number 5.
Is there any other conversation that you would like to have regarding this before we vote? Is there anything else that we need to do before we vote? Is everyone feeling ready? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that 64 South Main Street be removed from the designation that covers 58 South Main Street.
I second it.
We'll vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. So, yep. Do you want me to start reading this, Jill?
Yes.
To move along? Okay. Case 2, case type certificate of appropriateness for 84 South Main Street, the zoning district, downtown district. The applicant, Brian Mayu, Sandal Properties, and the request is to review replacement windows for a designated property. Code section 551-73. Seeker type 2, no further review.
So you get to come up now and tell us a little bit about your project. Yes, I'm sorry, we're jumping ahead. Commissioner Smith, if you could go on the record and explain your relationship with the applicant.
Yes, it's a full disclosure that Brian and his wife Dana have been clients of, and we've worked together in the past, most recently 4 to 5 years ago on a residential project. And but I feel that I can look at this application without any bias. So I'd like to be considered to remain on as a member of this commission.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. My name is Jim Ayers. I'm an advisor with the Mayu Financial Group. To my left is Brian Mayu, the owner of the Mayu Financial Group. I was asked to talk tonight because I've been doing all the research, and I'm also a woodworker. I also own an historic 101-year-old home in the Browncroft area downtown. So I'm very familiar with this type of thing, having worked on my own home for the last 26 years. We are so proud to own this building, and the people in Fairport have responded extremely well to what they've seen so far. Our clients from the Fairport area, people that, Dr. Cry, I mean, he was like 25% of the population, treating people. And some of those people have been inside and seen what we've done. Canal Days was exciting for us because people came up and said, wow, what a wonderful job you've done. And so we were just so excited to be a part of the community. It's an iconic building and one that we hope to preserve and move into the future. I spent quite a bit of time putting together the scope of work. I think it's page 9. I outlined 9 different bullet points. When you think about windows, it's an operating system. At least the old ones were. Today, you go, you buy a window, you get double glass pane. They can pull in, you can clean them. It wasn't like that in the olden days. I mean, you've got the window sash, you've got the storm window, you've got the screening. They're all different systems that connect together. So when you want to change the screen to the storm, somebody's got to climb up on the ladder and do that. I've been doing that. I did that for 25 years on my own home. The difference here is some of these windows are taller than I am. They're 6'4", they're 6'3", they're 5 inches taller than I am. And to climb on a ladder and try to take down a window that's bigger than you are, you can't do it by yourself. It creates a lot of issues. And as a business, we want to make sure that the place is properly maintained. That means somebody comes in and cleans windows twice a year. That means we have to hire somebody with a lift to come in and actually remove those windows. It can be done, okay? But where do you draw the line, to be reasonable about trying to maintain a property? In addition, I not only listed other arenas, 9 bullet points, I also put down 5 points that I thought were important, and that is we need to gain functionality back to the windows. Only 3 of the 24 windows actually open. So I spent a lot of time looking at different systems, kind of like good, better, best. And the one that we found that was architecturally sound and historic in nature was the Marvin Ultimate Window Design. And I have a sample of it here. I'll point out the good and the bad. So what makes it architecturally sound is this style of window. We have the thinner vertical styles. A lot of the modern windows, they're bulkier. You have the bulk down in the rails, down here. Now you can't see, but the check rail is the one that goes where they come together. Those are also thinner on this style. And so this line of Marvin windows was specifically designed to address historical windows like we're dealing with, and buildings throughout the country. There's drawback, okay? Whenever you do an insert, you are going to lose some of the glass space because you're putting something inside something. So you've got the frame. But let's talk about what it takes to actually rip out an entire window and put it back in and put in a brand new window. If you strip it back to the frame, if you take this window over here, you not only disturb the interior architecture, you now disturb the exterior architecture because everything has to be removed in order to put a brand new window into a home. That means that not only is that window, like I know what these are costing us now, quite a bit, but now the window's going to be enlarged. Now you've got carpentry work that needs done inside and outside. We just spent quite a bit of money redoing the entire inside. That means 26 openings now walls have to be redone, repainted, because you're going to have damage when you remove stuff. It becomes to the point, so it's not like a difference between an insert and replacing a window is $200 or $300. We're talking double the cost. It's double the cost when you start taking into account the hours that are going to be spent in the carpentry work. It gets to the point where it's just not feasible to do that on a structure like this, and you're going to lose some of the architectural integrity. So we're looking at color matching. We're looking at style of the window, somebody walking by, there's going to be some people that pick up on it. You know, if you're an architect, you might pick up on it. The average person walking by is going to say, wow, this building looks grand. And that's what we wanted to do. We want to really make sure that we're preserving the look of the property. I found it interesting, you know, a month ago we had an event and the clients, we had about 150 clients over and they really enjoyed the building. And we had the fellow from the Fairport Historical Society, you mentioned his name earlier, I forget. Yeah, and he'd written up an excerpt. And I found this really intriguing. At the end of his 2 pages that he wrote for us, he said, in the 1950s, Dr. Cry made significant update to modernize the house. He added a rear addition, which became the third and final major expansion, and removed the original front porch to give the home a more contemporary appearance. What makes this house special isn't just its age, but how it reflects the changing needs of the community. It has been a farm property, a family residence, a place tied to major business stories, and long-standing medical office. Each layer of its history tells a story of adoption and resilience. We're trying to move this house into keep the architectural soundness of the house and yet move it into the future, something that, you know, try to protect this house for the next 175 years, because it's going to be 175 years old next year. And that's important to us, to maintain it.
Jim, could you show the commission the color that will be used?
Well, it's the same as on the outside, so. And this is, you know, we had the outside painted all but the windows. We had 2 painters say, we don't even want to touch it, you know, because the damage is, I know a couple of you walked around, but the damage is pretty significant. But yeah, it's called a coconut cream. So we're going to have a color match there. Interior be white.
Any questions from the commission?
I didn't know, Amanda, did you want to see that, you had some questions about how when a replacement window gets inserted, this might help you out a little bit, just visualizing and having the actual window, if you could bring it maybe
So
up to,
when it gets inserted, you have this part now that is against the current, right?
I just want to make sure we're recording all of this. I know I'm like the dramatic person here.
oh, well, I can flip this around, okay.
So this part now is against the frame. So this structure here is where we're losing the space on each side. So, and the total is a little under, I think, 3 inches total side to side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's just on the sides then, it's not on the top and bottom.
There's going to be some loss.
Okay.
Yeah. But the actual grid system, this is architecturally sound. It's the same exact size as the grids that are on the thing. And that's why, because Marvin offers several different styles. They have their infinity line, they have their elevate line. We looked at all those, and you brought up Rochester Colonial somewhere along the line. We originally were working with Rochester Colonial, but they didn't offer the ultimate line, and the company out of Buffalo did. And so when we found out that this is the preferred window to utilize in historic properties, there was no choice. We just went to that window and said, yeah, that's the one that we need, because that matches what's there.
Generally, I believe I just put those windows into a new build myself, so I know how beautiful they are made, etc. But when I was trying to match the old windows in my house with this new addition, none of the sizes that was available were the same as my current windows. I have a 100-year-old house. But, so my windows are a little shorter and just a tad narrower or wider than the windows in the rest of the house, or the front of the house is where I was trying to match them. There wasn't, but generally, are the sizes of your windows custom to, you have a lot of different size windows.
Yeah.
Are the sizes you're recommending custom sizes, or are they basically what is available? They don't, I have a
mean,
chart
there-
that shows what size windows you can purchase. Well, how close,
I mean,
if you're
we've got
replacing,
we've got the opening. They're building the window to go into that opening now. Whether
so
that's
they are customizing the
Well, I don't
size
know
of the
if
window?
maybe some of those
to your
windows might be a
space?
standard for them, but they're not cutting out. They're not putting a 24-inch window into a 26-inch opening. They're going to build a 26-inch opening window.
Okay,
So
so they
I
are
guess-
completely custom
Yeah.
as far as size is concerned.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It'll probably match a lot better than mine. I'm a half inch off, and I see it.
The thing that I didn't expect though is when is the noise level. When I put new window, I after 25 years, I finally broke down and put new windows into mine because I was tired of climbing on the ladder. I have 43 windows in my house, and going up and changing out the systems, putting up the screens, putting out the storm windows, and just up and down twice a year. And the noise level, this is the thing that surprised me the most. We have in the Browncroft area, there's a railroad track that runs past, right? And about a quarter mile away. And if you're up at night, you hear that railroad. I haven't heard that railroad in a year. And I'm up at night. This is not a horse and buggy community anymore. You look at the traffic that goes by this place. Our main two offices are on the first floor facing the roadway. I've sat there in meetings and we had to stop the meeting for 10 or 15 seconds because 18-wheelers are driving up and down the street, making lots of noise, and it just kind of disrupts the meeting. And I know, and yet I sit next door in the house next door that has double windows, and I'm standing there looking at it, watching the same traffic flow and absolutely minimal noise, because it has the modern windows.
I definitely see benefits of the newer windows. Clearly, I took out a Three Seasons room and put in windows.
Yeah.
But my question about the pictures that I'm seeing, I mean, I understand that you're lacking in the wood storms, which of course would have been original. But as far as the muttons in the pictures I'm seeing there's really no wood damage to the actual windows. There just needs recaulking, which is just a maintenance thing. They're not damaged. I'm talking about just the windows. I understand that the storms are
When you're dealing with
in a
wood,
rougher condition.
when you're dealing with wood can always be repaired. Okay, but you do run across a situation that you don't think about. Some of these windows are over 100 years old. They've been fixed from time to time. They've been sanded down. Every time you go through that process, that structural integrity diminishes. Because maybe you're sanding a millionth of a centimeter off, and all of a sudden it becomes loose. The window no longer works environmentally because now it's not like the window is brand new. A brand new wood window is phenomenal. But when you got a window that age, you're not going to be able to bring it back to its original integrity.
Have you investigated that approach to get them restored versus replaced?
We looked at replaced.
You didn't investigate restoring them?
I'm going to jump in here.
I don't think it's okay.
There was a gentleman in the Rochester area that did restoration of windows, and it's my understanding that he's no longer doing it. So that sort of limits the ability for folks that are looking to restore their windows to have that done.
Well,
And the other thing is
I would check with the Landmark Society before I eliminated that option. I personally can't recommend a person. That's not our job as the commission.
Yeah.
But there are people that restore windows, and I'm not sure where they're located. I assume I know the person that she's referring to, that's written a book about, window sash repair. But I'd like to see some effort in looking at how much it would be and how feasible it would be to restore them. Again, what I see is just caulking. Yes, I understand it's old wood, and it's been weathered.
So because it's a system, we're also lacking 12, 13 of the storm windows. So that means we'd have to hire somebody to go out and custom make storm windows. And the materials today are not the same as they were back then. The
It's
pine
very
is not.
soft wood.
Yeah,
I don't know, we've never had to deal with it before, but I think that the brand new triple track storm windows are much more historic than they used to be. They used to be wide, and again, to Chuck's point, eliminating some of the window area, the glass area, but I think today's, if you're careful, you can get triple track windows that won't interfere with the light coming in. So I don't know how the group feels about approving triple track windows, because we never had to do it, but I don't have any wood storms in my house. They were all gone by the time I came, but triple tracks work pretty well. And are you going to have screens on the upstairs, or?
Yeah, there'll be a screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be built into the window, so we can
Okay.
open the windows
Yeah,
if we wanted to.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
possibility. Yeah, I've investigated that too. But my windows are all downstairs, so I skipped that expense. So, anyways, but generally, I'd like to see you investigate restoring them and what that would, and there might still be some windows that needed to be replaced, but maybe the ones in front could be kept. I don't know. But without looking into that, I don't think that, you've done enough to restore, keep it historical. You mentioned in keeping the integrity of the building.
Actually, across the front, there's two styles of windows. There's an Anderson leveler window that's on the left-hand side, and there's the originals on the right-hand side. And then you go around the corner of the building, and you have two windows that don't have any grids at all.
Right.
And that's, so we got.
Well,
So,
again,
Dave, did you have something that you
I
wanted to
do.
say?
So I did look at the windows closely, and as someone who sort of understands the process, reglazed 44 of them myself. It's a lot, but I would say a lot of the windows that I saw on that property they cannot be repaired. So much of the actual structure of the window is just missing. In terms, once you actually start to try to reglaze it, get the glaze to stick to it, it's going to be tough. And then it does scare me a little bit to think, well, if they're able to save some of them and then replace some of them, now we're starting to get into just a whole mishmash. Yeah.
And
If I
I
could
don't-
ask, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask a question of the applicant, because I believe that in conversation, I think that it was mentioned that some of the windows date from the 70s.
50s.
Okay, so not original then.
Well, actually, some of them could, because when did Dr. Cry did that renovation? Was that the 70s? May have been the 70s.
Is that what you viewed when you were on site as well, that some of the windows dated from approximately 50s to 70s? Would that be fair?
They're all in damage.
It's somewhere, I think some were older, just given the nature of the glass
Right.
that was in them. You could tell it was older than that.
I'm just wondering too, if you're kind of selling your research short just from listening to you and the conversation that you had about making this decision, is that it's not that you didn't even think about what would happen if we were to restore these windows. You looked at what it would take, and you know what it would take based on your experience. You know that some of the windows are painted shut. You know, you don't have the storms for 11. So I think it's not as if you just didn't even think about fixing what you had there. It sounds like.
Oh, no, we thought
So
about that a
it's-
lot.
yeah,
No,
that-
I did think about that a lot.
Right.
And the problems are, as David pointed out, some of them are just, where do you draw the line? You can fix something and you think you got it fixed, and my experience and his experience, you're going to be right back at it 3 years later because things aren't going to work properly. And a window is a system. So now I've got to go out and I've got to build storm windows, have somebody build the windows that are missing. I mean, the pictures are there on the rotting that's taking place on the windows. You're throwing good money to bad. And it's not going to solve the problem. It's not going to solve any of the energy efficient issues. It's not going to solve the noise issue.
And
So-
I guess it's on a philosophical level too. I support the environmental aspect of the windows, the energy efficiency, the noise, absolutely, because we have them in our house and it was just like kind of night and day.
Yeah.
Never expected the noise aspect. And, the practical elements are nice as well with the cleaning and everything. And I know it can be a big deal. Not that I would make the decision on that alone, but it's awfully nice for you. And I think you've done a great job in your research. And that's why I just didn't want you to sell yourself short. I think you've thought about this a
No, we
lot. It's
did.
not like you didn't do research.
And
It's
two
the only thing I
painters
was
declined to
thinking,
do the
Doris.
job.
Is what? I'm
Two
sorry.
painters declined just to even take on the painting of the outside of the windows.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that point. On the restoration, we have a 1880s house on West Ave, and we had original windows on the entire front of our house. So we had 13 windows, and we went through the process of having someone come in, recaulk, glaze, repair the ropes. We had to wait 18 months to get it done, and then after that, we had to have the crew come back 3 different times because it's a lost art, and there were some trainees who did the ropes and didn't do it quite right. And then on top of that, we did need to leave the house because of the lead paint. And every time you open and close, it's still an ongoing issue every season. We have kids in the house, so we did go through the process, but it is kind of a lost art, and it was quite time consuming to have it done. So I don't know, for your office, that might mean having to be out of commission for a bit with customers in there and lead paint disruptions and having painters refuse to do the work. So there is, I think they were based out of Rush, if they're still GNS windows, I want to say. I could find the name of it, but we did a lot of research to have it done at our house, and it was an undertaking, and unfortunately, there's not, because we looked and we spent a lot of time looking, there's not very many folks who do it anymore.
Yeah.
And this is 3 years ago, so.
We feel this move will help maintain the integrity of the house for the next 100 years. The windows and the roof, those are the two major protecting of a property. And that's what we're trying to do.
And it's nice when they all match.
Yeah.
So it'd be a shame if you went to all that work and only a few you were able to save.
Yeah.
They didn't match.
Chuck, did you have something you wanted to say at this part of the meeting?
I'm trying to decide what to say. But I'll say what I suggested in the preliminary meeting is that first of all, I apologize for bringing this up now and not 2 weeks ago. If there's an excuse, I've been busy and on vacation, but my very first thing I look at for replacement windows is whether or not the daylight opening matches the existing. It doesn't matter so much in the vertical mode because you lose 1.5 inches from each sash, and that really kind of disappears. But in the horizontal dimension, it's very visible, and the 5 front windows in the original house, it'll be very visible. Even though you say it won't be, it'll negatively impact that building. I understand that it impacts the interior. It's too bad it wasn't done with the renovation, but I also understand you got to move in and enjoy the building, and things have to be done in phases. So I understand that the trim was done before the window was replaced, and I get that. But that was unfortunate timing. So I wonder whether or not there's more, and I asked the board this to consider, so is there more importance to the 5 front windows of the original building and not to the 26 windows of the rest of the building? In that, I'm fine with the approach on the rest of the building, but I still consider the front 5 windows to be important, although it's not so important that I want to kill the project. So
There's 9 windows across the front.
I'm discounting the Anderson windows off to the left.
Right.
Yeah, I think that like those were changed over the years many times, and so if it gets changed in 2026, so be it. And why not use Marvin Integrity on the back of the building, because it'd be 50% the cost, and we don't care. At least I don't care. Just to as a hint.
Well, so let me just capture that a bit. The new code cares. The previous code said anything viewable from the public right of way. The new code makes it easier for staff and for the public to anticipate and covers everything on that structure, everything on the site.
Yeah, but does that mean we can't?
No, you can
Make
most
that-
definitely.
I can't make that statement?
No, you can most definitely make that statement, but I just wanted to make clear because in the past it said anything from the public right of way.
Oh, okay, thank
So
you.
if you say, no, we are completely fine with in the rear of the structure having a different style or different type or whatever, that's fine, but I just wanted to make that clear that the code covers everything.
So the side windows that are visible from the street are included in your.
Everything is included, yes.
So the thing
Just
is
quick-
too, if you do the front windows, those rooms inside, like on the side, the windows would be a different size. From inside the room, you'd be seeing the front windows would be
Yeah.
one size and the side windows would be a little bit smaller.
Yeah, we've done that before too.
I don't know. I can't see the side windows.
I think there's, well, maybe
If
maybe
that-
Jim, you can answer. Aren't there? Are those the side? Those are the
These
back
are
windows.
these are side windows.
Those are the side
So-
back,
so-
aren't they?
No, that's the front there.
Oh.
Isn't that the front right? Because there's the patio.
The top one is the front, and then those would be when standing by.
No, the ones that's toward the back.
Correct.
So right around the side window there, you got those 2 windows, sorry. You got those 2 windows, and then just to on the downstairs and the upstairs, you have 2 more windows right around the corner.
The same size as the front windows,
Yeah.
or are they a different size?
Sorry, I didn't think to take a picture of the,
Oh, I think that's all we've got for photos here.
I mean, that's just my only thought, Chuck. If you do something in the front, do you really not want to have that
and then.
the same?
The same on the bottom left. You got 2 more windows right around the corner on the bottom left. And in the top are the 2 windows that have no grids at all, right around the corner on the top.
Well, going back to what I said before, if you start messing around with different windows, repairing windows, your interior trim packages are all going to be different now throughout the house. And that might start to look odd after a while.
Yes. Tacky.
Yeah, I wasn't going to use that word, but
I think that's an approved historic preservation word. It's in tacky. Are there any additional questions?
Yeah, I have one. Have you given any thought to what will happen with the old windows if they are removed?
If you have a place for them, I actually did think about that, and I thought, gee, let's reach out to some of the historical people and see if they want to pick them up. I tried doing that with my own house, and nobody wanted them. And I tried to get them to, what's the name of that company in town?
Restore?
Yeah.
Historic house fires?
And I'm like, you guys want the? No, we don't want them.
I mean, I went online and researched that. What do you do with all, because it's the beautiful wavy glass and everything, the hardwood and,
So my neighbor in back of the house, he has the old style windows, and he said he had a cracked glass. So I gave him a window so he can go, restore one there. My neighbor across the street actually went through the class that the fellow that is no longer doing it, And he thought he was going to get into this business until he found out how much work it was. So he took about 10 of my windows. He says, well, I'm going to keep these. And so I got the wavy glass. I don't think he's had a single job. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Ton of work. So if you want any of them, by all means, just, they are unique because they are, like I said, they're big windows, you know, and, but somebody's going to work to get them fixed.
I'm just thinking about like what Chuck was saying, like if you did the front, that they weren't replacement, that they were new build, and around the side, so those were all the same, and then you went down the next level windows for maybe all the back windows. I don't know the difference in price. Is it like the difference between 1,200 and 600? When you do that, would that pay for some of the work that you have to do in the front? And I'm sure it's not what you want to do, but just kind of brainstorming this based on the concern that was raised.
The windows are averaging $3,000 a piece. It'll double.
Those weren't the kind of windows I got for my house.
These are the best windows we can buy.
Yeah, they're-
Historically match everything. I mean,
Wow.
we're not going cheap here.
No, we appreciate the level of effort that you've gone into with this, really.
I originally talked to Rochester Colonial, and they provide the Infinity line, which I actually put into my own home. And then I found out about the Ultimate that was specifically designed for historical homes. And Rochester Colonial does not have the Ultimate. I don't know why, but the company we're working through does, the Fairport office. Had I known about
That's
the
just
Ultimate
kind of-
line, I probably would have put the Ultimate line in my own house.
Well, I understood there are windows that they actually make there. They're not a Marvin window, they're Rochester Colonial windows, but I may be out of date because it's been a
No,
few
Rochester
years.
Colonial sells Marvin windows. They sell manufactured windows. Years ago, they used to build them. I don't think they do anymore.
Oh, they did a few years ago. But
Yeah,
that's,
they do.
Yeah.
They did.
Are there any more general questions?
And I also didn't want to put up aluminum storm windows. Thought that would look a little tacky, you know, to try to replace the 13 storm windows that we're lacking right now. I mean, we tried to think about all this stuff.
Right.
Do we want to, oh, I'm sorry, Doris.
I will add, I agree with you that the choice of Ultimate is perfect for this situation.
Thank
As
you.
far as detailing, it is a great window. So, and it's got thermal pane glass, which you can't do in a restoration. So,
Thank you.
Is there anything else that either of you would like to share about this?
We love the house.
Yeah,
You know, you should come over and see it inside.
yeah,
See what we've done to it.
Would love to.
Love to give you a tour anytime you want.
thank you.
We're really proud of it, and we want the community to be proud of it. And this is just the next step.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Is there any public comment?
I'm Jean Whitney. I was the champion of this house when it was designated and did the research. I support this. I'm sure the Cry family would support it too. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Any other comments, public comments? So if not, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting for this case. So if it works for everyone, we can go through the 5 elements. Are we set for that? Jill, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The general design character and appropriateness to the property of the proposed alteration or new construction. So again, this is in reference to the proposed windows.
Any thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I appreciate that they, are not cheaping out on this at all. I wasn't familiar with that particular line of windows out of Buffalo. We used Infinity for some new windows in our home, so I think I appreciate that, within a replacement window, it seemed like they are proposing to use one of the best products on the market. So,
Any other thoughts on that?
So this might be an opportunity to reference some of the details that were pointed out within the presentation in terms of some elements that are the same as the existing window.
Okay, I was leaving that for B and C, but I can just say
You get to
that,
repeat things over and over
Okay,
again if you'd
all
like.
right. And basically, that's what you kind of have to do. But, appreciate, as Amanda was saying, too, the matching of the grid system, the architectural details, matching the existing windows. I think it's appropriate to the property. So I think that it meets those standards. I do understand about having a little bit smaller, but I think in general, they've done such a great job in finding something that matches as closely as they possibly can.
Anything else on that one? The scale of the proposed alteration or new construction in relation to the property itself, surrounding properties in the neighborhood.
I guess in terms of scale, the windows are going to be custom designed to fit the current window openings, with the caveat that we will be losing a little bit of space, but that seems unavoidable with replacement windows, as far as I can tell.
And choosing windows, too, that have the details of the historic windows, it does also make it good in relation to the surrounding properties in the neighborhood, which do have some historic homes there as well. So texture and materials and the relation to similar features of the other properties in the neighborhood.
I fully support use of aluminum-clad windows in replacing wood windows when their detail is matching that of the wood window. And in my opinion, you can't really tell the difference between a painted wood window and a aluminum window from the street. So I think that it does do a good job of matching texture and replicating materials. And we've always, as a board, felt that it was okay to substitute materials when it's appropriate. So I think C is taken care of.
So visual compatibility with surrounding properties, including proportion of the property's front facade, proportion and arrangement of windows and other openings within the facade, roof shape, rhythm of spacing of properties on street, including setback.
There really is no change to size, proportions on the front facade, so I think that item D is fine. again, there's slight differences, but there's no major differences in size and openings and penetration, anything.
Yeah, I think as it's noted in there too, that these windows are mimicking the current shape and measurements of the details of the windows. Any other comments on D?
Well, I have to comment on the loss of daylight. However, I feel that in the situation that we have in front of us, to be fair and to be supportive of our new property owners, that we accept that as a given, only because of the construction sequencing, which I recognize is very difficult to change at this point. And also in that the loss of daylight in the vertical dimension is going to be very minimal and hard to determine. It's only in the horizontal dimension are you going to notice it slightly. And probably only me as an architect will notice that, but I think because of the timing of this application that I am supportive of this application.
And E, the importance of historic, architectural, or other features to the significance of the property. Well, again, I think that, windows are extremely important in the look of a historic property, and you have taken, great care to mimic what's currently there and are investing a great deal to have the correct windows there. And so I think we're all very appreciative of that. It feels like you're taking care to maintain this very important element of the home. Any other thoughts on E? Any other conversation?
I was just going to say, I agree with you, Kara. I think
Okay.
it is a little sad always to say goodbye to original windows, but I think overall for the building to have all of the windows match with the best product available, I think when you're inside the property, if you had different windows in different places and it would be sort of jarring for employees and customers, and I think it'll look great.
Well, also the buildings have to live, right? They have to live and improve, and we as human beings get new parts all the time now, knees and hips and shoulders, and buildings sometimes need new parts as well, and we need to recognize that as a board, and when an applicant is really trying hard to put in the right parts. I'm glad we're being supportive here, so I agree with your statement.
And thank you for answering all of our questions, too. I know it's a lot. Got to work through it, right? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness as written. Is that right?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. We would like that tour.
Yes. Our next meeting is
At our next meeting. Do you have a conference
2 or
room?
5:30.
We do?
Thank you.
So at this time, I'll just let everyone know that because the The next application has been designed by Chuck Smith, who sits on the board, that he is recusing himself and he is actually leaving the room. And Andrew Dici will now be able to participate. He's an alternate member, but for this case, he will be a full member. So if you'd like to join up here, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, so I'll move on to case 3, certificate of appropriateness for 26 East Church Street in the residential transitional neighborhood. The applicant is Jean H. Whitney to review the addition of an accessibility ramp to a designated property. Oh, and samples.
Charlie showed me a chair in there that was very similar to that metal.
Okay.
And I just thought, I wanted to take a close look at it.
You want to start down there and you can take a look. Okay,
So should I
Jean?
just
Yes,
start? Okay.
absolutely, thank you.
We had a workshop on this a month ago, maybe 2 months ago now. And I am back to have this finalized, I hope. And I think the best thing for me to do is to ask you what questions you have. Chuck's plan, looking down from above, is visible now, and the flooring for the deck is the gray piece that is being passed on. And one of the advantages of it is that it is a slip-proof surface. And for a handicapped ramp where people would either be walking up with a walker, a cane, or even in a wheelchair, that has a lot of merit, I think. Joe, do you have anything else to add?
If you could, we just have to make sure it's all recorded.
Joe Charles, I'm a member of First Congregational Church. We selected that. We originally looked at a product called Envision. And when I went to Matthews and Fields, who sells Envision, they sold me on that one instead because of its superior slip resistance. And it probably is the premier product for decking right now. They have it in stock, and it comes in the grays we were looking at, in 2 different grays. They both look the same to me, so I couldn't tell the difference.
That's a
A little lighter,
gray
yeah.
than the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So, go ahead. Any questions, Doris?
This is going to be gray.
Yes, the color. Mhm. That will be black. Yes. It's, yeah, yeah. Jill, could you go to do you have the PowerPoint I sent you this afternoon? There are just a couple things there that I wanted to clarify.
And just so you know, all the board members also have it in front of them.
Okay. This is this area from the street where,
One second, so I
Oh.
want to make sure it comes up. So everybody at home can see it.
oh,
Okay. Do you want it, which slide do you want it advanced?
I would go to down, okay, keep going, please. There. This is the existing railing that's on the front steps of the church today. And then the next is what we're proposing, the kind of thing that we're proposing. This is my house. It's a brand-new railing on the outside, and this is the kind of thing that we're proposing for the new ramp. And then Chuck sent me 2 photographs of this lattice work on, this is a parking lot, and then this one I think is a little better, the second picture. That gives you a little more of a sense of how it could look. It isn't going to be this massive because it isn't going to be this big an area, but that's the kind of thing. And that little silvery sample that I passed around will give you an idea.
I just want to clarify. So this picture here, this
Yes.
design, the way the handrail is that how the rail is going to be for the ramp?
No, it'll do the curve.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear because the
Yes.
drawings show it being curved and not like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's sort of the ADA approved, that
Yes.
curved look.
Yep, okay,
Or not necessarily, the way it's designed.
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
So it's going to be the one that's in this.
yes.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
okay. So is there anything, I've read through this a few times, I can't see anything that states this. Is there anything that's going to be removed from the building, like the current stairs, are they going to stay or are they being removed?
They will be cemented over. They will be there, but cemented over. And the railings, those railings will be removed.
Okay, so the only thing that's really been removed is the current railings.
Yes,
And is nothing else being changed from the building itself?
no.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a question just on this end cap piece here that's in the picture, so that it will be the square, like the block end cap on the end of the railing and not one of the more decorative designs that
Gene,
were
I'm
in the
gonna chase you.
printouts.
No.
Yeah, I'm calling it the end cap. I don't know what the appropriate term is, that.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
end Section, that's,
It'll
It's
curve around, it'll be curved around.
okay, so it'll be like the picture of your house, I think, on the.
No, it will be as drawn. So
It will be
if you
as
can
drawn.
see right here, it's curved. I guess, Jean, could you provide us more detail as to why the railing from your home was included? Is that how the metal will appear?
It's powder coated metal.
Okay,
That's one thing. And it was just an example because we didn't have a good sample of a railing.
Got it, okay, but the design, it will have a square
No,
end cap, no.
no.
so
I think that
the
was
drawing,
confusing me as well. So I think that your rail, there's really no element of the rail other than the powder coating that is similar to this.
True.
Okay.
Maybe it was
That-
bad to put it in.
Okay, that's maybe why, because it looks so different from this, but that's why you were just trying to show us the.
the
powder
material.
coating and-
Yes, but it will look just like the drawing that's up right now.
Okay,
Is that what Chuck left? Is that column one of the?
That will be the columns that support the ramp and they get set into the ground 12
Yep.
inches.
I see.
That's the support. That's
Yes.
that size count.
yeah, and I guess the reason why I'm just focusing on the square end cap, is that an ADA requirement that it's square like?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
So everything in this design obviously meets ADA requirements in New York State Building Code.
Got it.
For instance, there's a certain slope to the ramp, and it meets that 12/1 or 1/12,
Yep.
however you say it, slope.
I just think in looking through the pictures, I was distracted and charmed by some of the decorative elements here, like the curvature and the ball cap, but it sounds like those decorative elements are not possible to be included here, so it's
Yeah.
ADA compliant, okay. Thank you.
The purpose, you weren't here for the
Or
workshop.
I was.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We need a new handicapped ramp for a variety of reasons. One, the one we have now is too steep. Number two, if you're in a wheelchair, you can't get in the building by yourself from the one that we have now. Three, the one we have now is as far from the sanctuary as it possibly could be. This is about, you'll go in the door and you're about 12 feet from the entrance to the sanctuary.
Yep.
A little more than that, maybe 15. Number four, where it is now, there's one parking place. The advantage of this is there are easily 6 places that would be large marked places for handicapped people to use, getting in and out of a car or a truck or whatever.
Right. I remember that from the workshop. We spent some time in the workshop talking about design elements and decorative features, so I didn't know if it was still possible to include any of those with an ADA compliant design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not so much a question as maybe more of a suggestion that, the opening of that gate at 39 inches, maybe
Yes.
ADA compliant,
This,
can you consider making it wider?
this gate,
Yeah.
the purpose of it is for the Boy Scouts to be able to put their stuff up.
Yeah. No, I know it's not for. I remember the Boy Scouts, but I'm just thinking that if there are any large boxes or anything more significant that people are not going to want to walk around the ramp, it might be more useful to have a slightly larger.
So what you could do is, if you choose to go the direction of approval, you could include the condition that the applicant may explore a larger size, and you would be amenable to that.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's
Not that we
fine.
want you to do it because it's for your use, but I see.
But at
what
least
you're
keep the
saying, so
option.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
have to come back and say, oh, we changed this and we want 48 inches.
Yeah, if you've got
or
a
something.
large moving box or something like that, that's not going to do it.
True. I mean, there are other entrances to the church from the back, but that's a good point. Thank you.
Jean, could you clarify, when I'm looking at the picture of the door, I see a lot of different stones and cement, some cracked cement. I'm talking about sidewalk here. I assume that that's going to be
That
cleaned
will
up a
all be
bit?
cleaned up. We know that's an issue, and it will be cleaned up and re-cemented, removed. Yeah.
Okay.
We did, I
Great.
think, in our meeting, there was just a question, did you all decide what you might want to do with those pieces of slate sidewalk? Are you going to reuse them?
Yes.
Someplace else where you need them?
And I do have to go back to the first designate or discussion tonight, because remember that we did designate the slate at the Green Lantern Inn, but we did not designate the slate at the Congregational Church. We learned as time went on. So there are 24 pieces of slate between the door and the end of the sidewalk on the east side of the church. The plan is that they will be lifted up and moved and used to replace broken sidewalk that starts about here and goes around to the front entrance. So they will be reused and they will not be tossed away. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah.
You just stated that the current stairs are going to be cemented over. Is that just going to be like a fix, or are they going to turn into some new, like something new?
Go ahead.
I don't think Chuck was planning on cementing them over, just covering them with the railings, they'll be covered but not cemented.
Okay.
There's no cement over in that area.
The other pictures from
This is cement right here, but this is the existing stairs will be underneath this platform.
So the existing stairs will actually just be covered up by
yeah.
the ramp.
That's part of the reason for the grid,
Okay.
to hide them.
Okay, so nothing's really happening to the
No,
stairs.
no. Except the railings coming off.
Thank you. Are there any other?
Questions for Jean or anyone? Was there anything else you wanted to share about this?
I'm just pleased the way it looks, and I'm very pleased at the way that we've been able to move a ramp to be closer to the sanctuary. That is important.
I will also point out, and maybe everyone's seen this, I know there was a little discussion before, but this is actually a simpler, cleaner lines than the first drawing, that there's less horizontal rails. So that's
Yes.
nice for the sight lines and visually.
Yes.
The actual rail itself is something that was in that Envision catalog that they partner with somebody else to build those. So that is almost an off-the-shelf item that you can get, and they're all advertised as being ADA compatible, so they're
That's
compliant.
helpful to the budget, I imagine.
It's not bad.
Not so much.
Thanks.
No, this is irrelevant, but are you going to remove the other ramp on the other side of the building?
Not yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
See how much it's used, still used.
Yeah.
Are you all set? Everyone good? Okay, then we'll
Okay,
close the.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you all for being here.
We'll ask for anybody in support and anyone in opposition. And now we'll close the
Oh.
public hearing.
Um,
Yep, you're just going through the standards.
Okay, so I guess we can start reading the standards if we're all set. Ready to go?
Okay, the first one, the general design, character, and appropriateness to the property of the proposed alteration or new construction. And again, this is related to the addition of the accessibility ramp.
I think the design and the character of the ramp is compatible and is very discreet, which is good. Will not distract from the historic property.
Number 2?
The scale of the proposed alteration or new construction in relation to the property itself, surrounding properties in the neighborhood. And I know we didn't talk about it, but the applicant did provide a lot of information in comparison to other properties and how the material that was used for the ramp connects to the surrounding properties.
Well, I agree with some of the comments here that it has very clean lines, and as Dora said, it's a low profile. It blends in with the gray colors in the foundation of the church. I think it is appropriate in relation to the property and the surrounding properties.
They did provide appropriate pictures to show that it applied to other properties as well.
Number 3?
Texture and materials and the relation to similar features of other properties in the neighborhood.
Well, as we just said, the materials, I think, complement near neighboring properties, as well as in no way detract from the architectural significance of the church.
Number 4?
If you could just wait 1 second, I can't
You're
write as
still
fast as,
writing?
yeah.
I can read while you write. Will the proposed alteration or new construction be visually compatible with the surrounding properties, including the property's front facade, proportion and arrangement of windows and other openings within the facade, roof shape and rhythm of spacing of properties on the street, and including the setback, will they be appropriate?
I'll go on this one. I think in terms of visual compatibility, it's as discreet as possible, being tucked away on the side, and it's conveniently close to the parking lot. So I think looking at it from the front, it wouldn't, he'd still be able to appreciate the beauty of the church, and it wouldn't distract at all from.
Very low profile on the materials that are being used. I think probably pretty soon you wouldn't even notice it, you know? It'll just blend in. And number 5, is the proposed alteration or new construction contributing to or maintaining the important historic, architectural, or other features significant to the property?
I wouldn't say it's contributing to it, but as Kara just said, it certainly does not detract from anything that's existing.
Yeah, again, the low profile just makes it so the architecture of the building still stands out, and is the most important part.
Yep. Are there other comments? Did you want to say something?
No, it's just been time talking. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I was going to suggest that I'd like to make the motion, but I would like David to word it with the inclusion of the possibility, how you want to word that, of widening the gate, to open up that up.
So,
Opportunity.
yep, allow for the design to allow a large lift gate if the applicant desires. And I'll wordsmith that.
Okay, that's,
I think that's
Well, that-
important to keep in just in case there is a design change that, as mentioned, the applicant doesn't have to return to the board as long as you're okay with that.
absolutely.
Yes.
I want to make that motion.
Is there anything else you wanted to,
Isn't that the size of a standard door, 49 inches?
it's 39 inches?
39 inches.
I'm just thinking back to, my club days, and who knows what scouts or any other organizations are going to want to be bringing in and out. And if it makes it much easier for them to just be able to unload things onto that landing as opposed to walking it around that ramp, it might be useful.
And
I'm not saying you need to do it. It's
Yeah, I just want to
I wanna leave
emphasize.
it open for you.
Just as Commissioner Stites mentioned, it's not that you have to do it, it's that it provides that option so that you don't have to return. So if the decision is made that, no, we don't want to make it larger, that's completely okay. But if you go back and say, we would like to make it larger, the condition is acceptable to the Preservation Commission.
Are you going to make the motion?
I
Did
think
you just
Doris
make
wanted
it?
to.
Oh, you made the motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, to approve the application with that condition that they may enlarge the gate if they choose. And
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. You have a ramp. Thank you very much for all the work and coming to a workshop and doing all that.
The lecture's out process in case one, I'm sorry, I couldn't say anything. I know.
Think about it. Somebody ran them out, and took all the windows out.
Oh,
Wood, aluminum would never make it.
oh.
Well, that
Yikes.
doesn't mean it's right.
It's lunar clad.
So we haven't,
They're very, very.
we haven't adjourned yet. Oh, yes, your stuff.
In fact, I was told. No, he's gonna pick it up tomorrow. Is he gonna pick it up?
We're just going to adjourn quickly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the stuff, I'm only leaving the stuff here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
So we're on to other business. We have nothing else. Oh, no, there's nothing else on the agenda, I don't believe. But I did want to bring up something that I saw in the letter from Frances Stern, if I could, because everyone has so much time in this room. But she did offer, if we wanted to look into a grant application, the deadline is September 15th. I went, oh, like a month from now. And we had talked about doing something about the historic district. So I'd rather, we can talk about this later, but I just wanted to bring that up, that I hadn't realized. I thought the deadline, maybe that was it different? Was it the CLG rather than SHPO, or is that the same thing?
It's the same thing.
It was the spring.
Yes, I think that they've changed in response to, because keep in mind, the money that they're able to provide through the CLG grant is provided at the federal level. So I think that they had to adjust based on figuring out how much money they had access to, which was a little bit delayed to figure that out, and then when everything would be due. So we did submit an application, I think it was last year.
I think it was 2 years.
Was it 2 years ago?
It was before zoning.
Can you change the date and resubmit it as written? Do
Well-
we need to change it?
I'm almost wondering,
We should review it.
why don't I dig it up, send it out to everyone? And I think I had met with, I don't think it was Francis, I think it was another reviewer. And I'll see if I can find my notes as to how we could improve it.
Yeah, I do remember you talking about that
Yes,
at the
because
time.
I
They encouraged you, I think, maybe to.
Yes, the trouble with CLG is that they don't get a whole heck of a lot of money, but they typically get a lot of really good projects. So even though at that time we weren't awarded it, it's not that they said it wasn't a good project, but they just don't have a lot of resources.
So maybe if we could talk very in the near future or get that out. I know you have a lot of priorities, but when I saw that, I thought, oh, that could get things rolling again. So,
I think it's
Or-
much easier to revise than it is to start from scratch, Jill. I think we could move on this pretty quickly.
or it
and
could
get
be a
it done.
different district. Thanks.
I'm thinking, or, depending upon how much we have to have ready for September, what about the easier lift might be a business district that we were thinking about? Significantly fewer properties, but it would do something about, keeping Main Street as is.
Well, and that would be National Register that you're proposing?
So I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever this grant was for, the
Yeah, it
first
was
one.
national.
Was it
register
national?
We were talking
Okay.
about doing.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
I mean,
Yep.
So it might be more, there wouldn't be like the local teeth, but there would be the possibility, if it was a different area, that there might be funds available to the building owners to make improvements.
Especially given what's happening, with the application we had this evening for one of the properties, the adjacent property, there's things that will be happening in that area, and that might be beneficial.
so, if somebody wants to take the lead on that, the unfortunate part is that I'm gone for about 2 weeks at the end of August, which doesn't leave a lot of time for me to put something together. But I'm happy to send the last one that we did along, and we'll search for those comments. And then I'm, happy if somebody says, I want to champion this, we can connect with Frances. I'm sure she'd be happy to meet with us.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
At least let's make an attempt here. I know it's a really quick turnaround, but
So if you could let me know by early next week, I can then arrange something with Frances either before I go on vacation or right when I get back, so that still provides enough time to massage whatever needs to be massaged.
Thank you. Anyone else? Other business? All right, motion,
Oh, go ahead.
nope, I was going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I would like to discuss the next meeting, just get a feel for how many people are going to be able to attend. Generally, it would be the first weekend of September, which is September 3rd. I guess I would like more than 1 day notice. It just isn't possible to have that meeting. Is everyone on vacation? Is it too busy with school starting? I just like a general idea of just so that I don't put it on my calendar and plan my vacation around it. And then I find out I can spend a couple extra days away. So I hope you don't mind me
I
asking.
believe school is in session at that time because they're starting before Labor Day. So people should be around, they feel. I'll be
Well,
around.
I mean, are we, generally, do you know, people know here? If
Well,
you're going to be available for that meeting?
But make sure too, you have something to talk about for that agenda, because we don't want to just get together for the sake of getting together. So if there's something in particular that you will have for the agenda, then most definitely have a meeting.
So maybe if we could get together, one or two of us with you before you leave and look into this whole Francis Stern thing and SHPO, that might inform us if we have some things that we could take action on, we could work together, because the 3rd is before the 15th. So maybe give us a few days.
And I
Find out
I
about
guess
that.
if my last day is the 19th before I leave. So if we could make a decision by the 19th whether we will have a meeting, then I can still get it in for the advertisement for DNC.
Okay.
So perhaps, we can schedule something 13th, 14th, 17th, somewhere in there, if not sooner. If, whoever wants to meet, I will look immediately for the old application and send that out. Hopefully tonight before I leave, or if not tomorrow, and then we can go from there.
Yikes, August is going quickly.
2026 is going quickly.
I know, it's so true.
So why don't we set that as a group? We'll say that a decision will be made by the 19th, whether we'll meet in September or not,
All right. Why don't we?
if that works for everyone.
So do we want to do a motion to adjourn?
I'm,
Oh,
Oh,
I make a motion to adjourn.
second.
all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're adjourned.